I'll show you how it's done. Shazam!
Hey y'all, how's it going? Welcome back on Underdeveloped. Today we are reviewing Black Panther Wakanda Forever.
Probably the highest anticipated movie of the year.
Probably, yeah, that's fair enough to say. Even more than Doctor Strange, probably. Okay, so like in the first Black Panther, I think it kind of mirrors the same problems with this movie. I just felt that it had a lot of interesting concepts with this movie, a lot of powerful concepts to explore, and I still think they explore the surface of these problems and not like they don't really get into depth of these issues. Like
They really don't.
the thing is with the more should be treated more as like a second main character than just like an antagonist. Like he should have had it should have been whole entire sequences to kind of how they built up Wakanda in the first movie and T'Challa and the way his world works. They should have done the same thing for Namor. The whole first sequence should have been how the Talokan became the Talokan and how Namor became Namor. And they just had a whole bunch of scenes without the Wakandans with just Namor talking to Namor, or Namor just like, like this to build up his kingdom and build up how things work in his world. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. To build him as the main character because his journey, who his character kind of bodes well with who T'Challa was, who King T'Chaka was, who fucking Killmonger was. It all ties in. He's very connected to these people. You know what I mean? So I felt because of that reason alone, they should have really focused on his character, really emphasized him a lot. I don't think they do that. You know what I'm saying?
They didn't. I completely agree. If anything, I think that would make this movie way better in more ways than even just that. Because if you try and make parallels between him, T'Challa, and T'Chaka, then that would contrast very well with the movie actively making those parallels with Shuri and Killmonger.
Yeah,
it would make the two characters contrast even more. It would make a much more interesting dynamic where Namor just feels very disconnected to pretty much everything Wakanda does, aside from they both have vibranium.
And then on top of that, the main antagonist should have been America. Should have been like the world powers wanting vibranium for themselves. You know what I mean?
Yeah, they're like barely a factor.
And uncomfortable. Yeah, and they're really not a factor. You know what I mean? And I felt they should have been tied into the main like climax or like the third act of the movie. Like I felt by third act, that whole fucking plot was potentially very strong and very powerful and very realistic and very relatable to the modern world. Kind of just fell flat and say fuck it.
Yeah.
I'm like, and I mean, like, because the thing is, they made plans. They use, of course, they're trying to use media to make them look like the villains. You know what I'm saying? Conveniently use the attacks of Namor to show, you know what I mean? So like that's finished what they use. They use media, so it's like to hide the heinous deeds. So it was like, that's very strong. It should have been a really politically charged movie, you know, because it is about politics. It is about rulers. It's about power.
That would have been more interesting.
That would be more interesting than trying to defeat Namor all the time. I was like, dude, that's kind of got lame. You know what I mean? Like, come on. Like, it's been more interesting. Like, they should have been a factor, but as I said, he should have been a more of a secondary protagonist, but he has opposing views of the way they handle things. But over they should have came together and did the right thing. You know what I'm saying? You know, like, that's... to me, that's how the movie should have went, and I felt it was a really missed opportunity. Similar to the first movie, you know what I mean? Like to explore these different characters, and and they didn't explore Talokan as much as I thought they should have.
No.
Same thing in the first movie. I didn't think they explored Wakanda.
Yeah,
as much as they should have.
Because like those are some of the best parts of these movies, like exploring these locations,
exploring these locations, world building, the different cultures, and that would have showed us how precious this world meant to him. You know what I'm saying? Like all this would have built his character and it would have made his motivations for things he's done that carry a lot more weight to it.
Like these movies really lack in the world building, which is sad because these are interesting worlds. Yeah. Like I want to know more about Talokan and Wakanda. They're like interesting. But again, like I feel like Ironheart is such a letdown of a goddamn character because we're introduced to her. She's charming at first. Like her initial sequence, right? It's all pretty good. Like, but then like when she gets kidnapped by the Talokan, she kind of becomes a non-factor for the rest of the movie. Like,
yeah, she's
just kind of there. Like it really makes you feel like she's really only exists just to set up the next Armor Wars movie. Morgan Freeman is just as much of a waste of space as he was in the first movie. Actually, probably more so because at least
I do enjoy him in these movies. I think he hits a nice little charming, slight comic relief.
Nothing against Morgan Freeman as an actor. He's not bad or anything. It's that he just doesn't do enough in these movies to justify his presence.
I mean, he's not really treated as a main character. He's like a small character that does small things, but I enjoy him. I enjoy him in these movies.
But when we have all these other characters that clearly needed more time to be established and more time dedicated to them, then it makes characters like Martin Freeman that kind of distract them like way worse.
I guess, but I don't think but they do kind of need him because they don't need like reliable contact for them in America. You know what I mean? So he does play a certain role. You know what I mean?
I guess, but like
I don't think he didn't really have that much screen time. But
he had like a good 5-10 minutes of screen time.
I mean, from like a 2.5 hour movie.
Yeah, but even then, like there were so many scenes where it was him and Julia Dreyfus just like talking and shit.
Okay, sure. That could have been a deal. Yeah. But the thing is, she also is like leading the charge against like finding Vibranium. So she is essentially one of the main antagonists.
I understand that, but that could have been accomplished with way less screen time than they got.
Sure, like they need a whole like thing about how they were like broken up and married. Yeah, that wasn't necessary.
Yeah,
I agree with that.
Yeah, there was a lot of stuff that was just there that just felt like padding.
Yeah.
Like you could have gone to those points too, but they could have just been like lesser background stuff happening.
For sure.
They didn't need to be as present as they were, especially when I would have liked to know more about some of the Talokan characters, like Namora or that like large fat guy.
Because I felt Namora didn't really have any real screen presence until like the fucking end credit scene, which was talking to Namor.
She has like some fight scenes. That's it.
Yeah, that's it. Like I would like to actually
she was barely a character.
I agree.
Even less of a character than Ironheart was. At least Ironheart had set up for her character.
She should have been because that's what have fleshed out the Talokan, because it's not just Namor. As these real people, real characters that follow this guy.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like maybe she loves him. Like it would have set up some B plot, some kind of like internal plots within his own world to build him up as a character, to say that no, it would have further fleshed out his world. And I feel like the movie just lacked a lot of missed opportunities, just like the first movie.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Good concepts, but had potential to be a lot better than it was.
Yeah.
And that makes it. And that makes me sad.
Agree. And I think the first movie was even better than this one.
And I feel because it's all connected to MCU crap. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? That's exactly why I feel it's too much MCU, not enough Black Panther.
Yeah.
That's my overall consensus of this movie.
Exactly. I would like if it just tried to do more of its own thing.
Yeah. Just
like really stick out.
Yeah. Honestly, I think that worked too when they actually do bring them to MCU, because then they don't just make them characters that much more special. Oh, are we seeing this guy? Let's see how they interact with these characters. You know what I mean? Like it just would have made it that much more.
Especially since Namor is still around, like you can still interact with the characters. But even though he did a good job, I'm not really that excited to see more of him, because they did such a piss poor job building him up.
Mm-hmm, they
did. He's just like T'Challa in the sense that he's mostly just a okay character carried by a good performance.
Exactly. Honestly, but let's go to the good things. The good things is Queen Ramonda, played by the beautiful
Angela Bassett,
who ages like fine wine. I thought she put up, like, especially when she was talking to Okoye, when she was like when she was letting Okoye go.
Oh yeah.
After she pretty much lost Shuri in DC.
That was a powerful scene.
Her performance was like, that's like Oscar level of performance.
Honestly,
she crushed it.
Probably one of the best, easily one of the best performances of the entire MCU.
Yeah, I felt her death was lackluster though.
I agree.
I thought she had a lot more to offer this movie, and they just kind of cut her wing
yeah.
because they just want to build up Shuri's next Black Panther, which I'm like, whatever. And she ended up not doing anyways, and they ended up going to M'Baku. They should have developed M'Baku a lot more too, in terms of like taking the mantle, because I think he is the obvious next choice next to T'Challa, in my opinion. Because even though Shuri is smart, whatever, that's not. I don't think Leah Nation is in her suit. First, she's mad young.
She doesn't seem interested in it.
Yeah, she's mad young. She's not interested in it. That's not her vibe. That's not her calling. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I said the first 30 minutes was pretty much great, in my opinion. It was really when it got into, like, you know what I mean, like,
it was,
the nitty-gritty of the movie. That's when it was like, by the end of by the mid to end way of second act to third act, by the time they got to pretty much same problem with Man of Steel had, but pretty much when they got to Lokan, that's when it kind of like, at least Black Panther kind of stuck the landing throughout. It's just that they just, you know what I mean, they just missed opportunities to explore characters further.
There was missed opportunities, but at least, like, overall, it was a good ride.
Yeah, exactly. This kind of like...
This really peered out.
It peered out for sure.
Yeah.
By the midpoint, it definitely peered out for sure. Okay, guys, so we're at the end of the review now, so I'm going to say my score, my Rotten Tomatoes score for this movie. I'll give it a solid 81.
Really? Wow.
Yeah.
I'd give it more like a 70.
Oh yeah, no, I obviously enjoyed this a lot more than you did. I still think it was a good movie. I just felt that they just a lot of missed opportunities.
Yeah, it was like, I mean, it was good, but I felt like the missed opportunities really hurt this movie more than the first one did.
It did, but that's why I could get a much lesser score because the first movie, I'm sure I gave it like an 89. Percent. I'm dropping this like 8 points because it was a good movie. It still was entertaining. It still had a lot of good moments in it. You know what I mean? A lot of strong performances, and it had these. And just the mere fact of having these interesting concepts and exploring them somewhat still made it worthwhile. But anyways, so that's pretty much the consensus of this movie.
I think we've given our piece on this movie long enough. We've been going on for a while, but thanks for joining us, and let us know what you thought of this movie down in the comments below. Make sure you hit that like, subscribe button, folks. It's there. And again, another rest in peace to Chadwick, because, we kind of have to. He deserves it.
Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever, folks.
Later, guys.